Hello, baseball fans, and welcome to this edition of the Pile Kino Lamar Viking Baseball Coaches Show. I'm Bill Frawley with the speech impediment tonight, and with me, as always, is head baseball coach Paul Kino. Coach, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. You can call me whatever you want to call me. I'm good.
I, I don't know if I started to say pile like Gomer Pile or what. Paul Pile, maybe it's just a Southern accent. Hey, Coach Pile, how you doing? So anyway,
I'm good with it.
Well, I know, and that's what's one of the things I love about you. I've known you for about 16 years of this stuff, and I really you're easygoing. I like it when you need to be easygoing. Hey, you're coach when you need to be a coach. Well, speaking of being a coach, this is an interesting part of the season, Coach. Their record in district play is 5-3.
Mm-hmm.
You've got some tough teams coming up. You've got some teams that need to not be overlooked, and that's my word. You tell me what you want to say, but you've got a series with Bowie this week, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But if it's okay, let's just go back in the Wayback Machine to last week, and we had a couple of games against Arlington High. Of course, Tuesday night was at Arlington. I got to be there for that game, and I'll tell you one thing: the crowds were out.
Oh, it was electric.
Incredible crowd. Yeah.
Oh, it was electric Tuesday and Friday. It was great environments to play in. That's what your kids, that's playoff environment. Like I always talk about, I feel we're a playoff team. We haven't clinched yet, but we're a playoff team. And, Arlington High, they're now 8-0. So they've clinched a playoff spot, by beating us twice. They're a good baseball team. So you got two good baseball teams going at it, electric environment. That's playoff baseball. And, talk about Tuesday night, we go over to Arlington. I think we're a little jacked up. We didn't. I think we embraced the environment. I told them to enjoy it, embrace it. The kids, take it all in. I think we're a little too keyed up. We did not go to the plate with our approach. I mean, we were up there and we were swinging at first pitch curveballs. We were swinging at curveballs in the dirt. We were being way too aggressive. We want to be aggressive, but we want to be aggressive in the zone. And so we were changing our at-bats because we were chasing some bad pitches. I thought their pitcher did a good job, but I also thought we helped him look really good too. Nate goes after. He may have been a little keyed up. He left a couple pitches up, which he hadn't really done all year. And, give Arlington High credit because they hit them. They put a four spot up in the first, which kind of changed the game a little bit. Changed the game of how you play it.
Right.
And so, we could never get the big hit. Finally, the last inning, they put up a few more runs. It ended up being 8-1. But, finally, the last inning, we kind of regathered ourselves and took the approach that we've been taking all year. And we put up a run and had an opportunity to put a couple more up, but it just didn't happen. But, if we'd have done that, that's the hard part. If you'd have done that the whole game, maybe what could have happened? You can't look back, and hindsight's 20/20, but if we would have maybe done that the whole game, it might have been a little different. It may not have, but then we go to Friday night's game, and I thought we took really good approaches to the plate. I mean, it was a pitcher's duel. I mean, I believe they had 3 hits and we had 4 on the whole night. I thought Peyton threw a really good game. I thought Nate threw a good game after settling down the first on Tuesday. I thought, like I said, Peyton threw a really good game. Did a great job. I thought we played really good defense. We had an opportunity in the first. Nate leads off with a base hit. Couldn't get a bunt down to move him to second. And then Jalen singles. So, I mean, if we would have bunted him over, Jalen singles, we'd have scored. It'd been 1-0. But instead, we don't end up scoring. And it's, still 0-0. And like I was trying to tell the kids after the game, that's playoff baseball. You got 2 playoff teams going after each other, and all the little things matter. You got to be able to bunt somebody over. You may not want to bunt as a player, but that's not your job to be a coach. It's your job to try to execute what the coach is asking you to execute. And, you got to do your job. And if coach asks you to bunt, you bunt. I've never met a player that wants to bunt, and I don't want my players to want to bunt. I don't want them to go, man, I don't want to hit in this situation. I hope coach gives me the bunt. No, I want them to want to hit in that situation.
And that's why they call it a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice bunt.
You're sacrificing your at bat.
Yeah.
And we got to be able to do those little things, especially in playoff baseball, because they could be the difference between winning and losing. And but we didn't, and it was still 0-0 through 5. We walked the leadoff hitter in the top of the 6th. Peyton was about 90 pitches, so we go get him. Threw a good game. uh, they go to bunt, and we throw it down the line. And again, I don't ever point fingers at anybody. We need to make that play. It's a play that we work slow rollers every single day in practice. That's basically what a bunt is a slow roller coming to get it, going on the run. So, we got to make that play. So we throw it down the line. When we retrieve the ball, we throw it to home plate because the runner at first was going to third, and he was going to be safe. So we throw it to home plate, a base ahead where we should throw it. It hops over Garrett's shoulder, and our pitcher, in the weird play that happened, he didn't get back to back up home plate.
Yeah.
And ball goes to the screen. They score a run. Now the guy who bunted the ball is standing on third base. So it's 1-0. And then, they squeezed. And, we talked to our pitchers and they're young, for the most part. Peyton's a senior, but for the most part, they're young. And, I don't know if they work on it in bullpens. I'm pretty sure they do. But, when a guy squeezes to a right-hander, you throw a fastball up and in because it's the tag side plate and it's a hard pitch to bunt. If it's a lefty, you throw it up and away. Hard pitch to bunt and it's tag side of the plate. Well, I don't know. I didn't hear a squeeze or runner or anything called. And, we throw a strike and the kid bunts it. Basically it's going to be a bang, bang play at the plate, probably going to be safe. So we take the out at first. You got to get the out. It's 2-0 now. That's how the game ended. We had an opportunity. We had bases loaded, 1 out, and you can't fault the kids because, we're up there swinging and we happened to hit a ground ball to first they had corners in and they went home to first. They got the out at home, but they didn't get the out at first. And then, Jalen hits a line drive. It wasn't a crush, but he hits a line drive. And, the shortstop, it almost got over his head. And, that ties the ball game up. But, things didn't go our way, but I was really proud of how we competed. We showed up really mentally to play, and we competed really hard, and we had opportunities. We just didn't cash them in. And, that's how you got to show up and play against everybody. And, we're talking about, we have Bowie coming up, and then we have South after that. If you want to look at the district rankings right now, Arlington's 8-0, Martin's 7-1, we're 5-3. Well, they put South in front of us because they played 10 games. They got the bye this week.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
South is 6-4, we're 5-3, Bowie's 4-4. So this is a big series. We need to go out and we need to play well, and we need to take Bowie seriously. We need to take South seriously. We need to take. We don't have. I don't know how to put it. We don't have the right to overlook anybody.
You don't have games to give.
No, we don't have the right. We're not 8-0. We could lose a ball game. We need to play everybody like they're the number one team in the district.
Well, and it's go ahead. I'm sorry. Well, I say it's kind of wild because here we are about halfway through the district play, a little more, and yet this is a playoff game for all intents and purposes. But both games this week are playoff games because they help determine, are you solid getting into the playoffs, or do you have to wait and see, and then it can affect seeding, correct?
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. If we split with Bowie, right now we're a game up on Bowie. So if we split with Bowie, we'd be a game up on Bowie going into the last weekend. Bowie has Martin and we have South Grand Prairie. If we sweep Bowie, we're in because basically we're 3 up because we're a game ahead of them right now. We'd beat them twice. We'd be up 3 with 2 games to play. So a lot of things can happen, but, big thing is we need to take care of our business. You don't know what's going to happen right now. This week, Martin has Arlington High, depending on what happens with them can affect whether, we could possibly be playing for second place or third place or or what we do could mean possibly determine whether we're in the playoffs or out of the playoffs.
Sure. Coach, a week or two ago, sometime recently on these shows, you had talked about, and the conversation went towards, walking up to the plate, stepping up to the plate with the mental thought of, I'm going to hit the ball, not necessarily first pitch, but I'm going to hit the ball, which translates into going into a game. I'm going to win the game. We expect to win the game.
Yes.
And again, with these kind of all these, late district play, these are, like we said, playoff games. And so is it a challenge to get the whole team cohesively to take the approach of, we expect to win this game? We're not just going up and, does that make sense?
I don't think it's hard to get them to expect to win the game.
Okay.
I think when you're dealing with younger kids and, as an adult, you learn baseball's a fickle sport. And, I talk about the baseball gods. If you do things and you don't play the game the right way, and you don't respect your opponent, the baseball gods have a way of humbling you.
Sure.
And, for whatever reason, some of our kids don't respect certain teams. And, that's my biggest concern, is getting them to understand that we respect everybody and you have to get up to play every single team. It doesn't matter who they are. There's certain teams in our district that our kids are going to get up to play, period. And there's certain teams that, we're going to win. And you can't take that attitude of, we're going to win just because we show up. You've got to play, and you've got to bring your A game every single time. And if you don't, you're going to get beat, or you're going to be in a very close ball game. You might etch it out at the end, but you're going to be in a very close ball game, and you're given the possibility of getting beat.
And that confidence thing can be affected. Even if you win that game, that could carry over to the next game against the same team or another team. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. Because
Okay.
even if you etch out the win, the other team's like, we can beat these guys.
Mm-hmm. We were that close.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think a lot of it, like you said, I can't remember exactly you're saying, Yogi Berra, but about the mental part of the game, but it's
it
true.
changes every time too. But it's
so,
like 70% mental and the other half is physical.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's that's the biggest thing I've learned with 27 years of dealing with young men in high school is getting them to be ready to play every single game.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter who the opponent is. You have to prepare and be mentally ready and get up to play them and do the things that you're supposed to do. If a team is lesser than you, do the things that you're supposed to do.
Gotcha. Hey, so I'm going to change gears if it's okay for a minute. I want to talk about what I'll call this first pitch mentality. And I'm going to start off with, all right, I pitched one time in my life. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I drilled the first batter, not on purpose. And then I realized, this is coach pitch, and that's my own team. But on a serious note, I actually did hit one of my own one time. That's why I said, all right, who's up? We went to the bullpen pretty quickly. But I've thought about this over time when I taught or coach, T-ball and kid pitch up to a certain point, then the skills needed exceeded my ability to coach. But I would often tell, young kids at least, hey, look at the first pitch, see what he's got. If it's a ball, maybe look at another one. Now that may have not been a good strategy to get a kid.
I think it's different. I think it's different depending on what kind of pitcher you're facing.
Yeah.
The different kind of things, I like an aggressive team. I don't like a passive team.
Mm-hmm.
I think aggressive people win.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Rose once said it, aggressive people win. It's just that, and there's times to take pitches, you don't want to have a 6-pitch inning and your pitcher's right back out on the mound. So there's times to take pitches, but, and some guys hit better with 2 strikes. But I like an aggressive team. I do. I've had passive teams in the past and they drive me insane. And, I can't stand a kid swinging a bat once and striking out. Takes the first 2 pitches, shakes his head, and then, ball swings at one and he's going back to the dugout. He didn't give himself a chance.
Yeah.
I think that, to get a pitcher's timing down, you need to use all 3 of your swings. You might light the first one up and get a base hit. You know, there's a chance you might fly out, you know. Um, my thing is what are you swinging at first pitch?
Okay. So pitch selection.
Yes. I mean, it's
Okay.
more so what are you swinging at? You
Okay.
know, this is high school. Not a lot of guys throw their curveballs for strikes.
Gotcha.
And even if they do throw it, they're throwing it probably 50% of the time for strikes. Obviously you get in the third, fourth round of the playoffs. The farther you go in the playoffs, the better the pitching's going to be. And probably the better they're going to be able to throw their off speed.
Mm-hmm.
But, for the most part, I don't want, we'll change our strategy. Like when we played El Paso Socorro in the second round down in
Odessa.
Odessa.
Yeah.
They pitched backwards. They didn't have a hard throwing staff, and they were curveball, and they threw them for strikes.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're taking curveball, and all of a sudden we're down 0-2. So we had to change our thinking a little bit. We started thinking backwards, what we call thinking backwards. We went up looking off speed. And we started hitting. But if a kid's not throwing his breaking ball that much for strikes, we're going to sit fastball. That's what every coach is saying. You're going to sit dead red, take the curveball till you got two strikes, and you got to swing at it. So to me, it's what are you swinging at? If you're swinging at a first pitch breaking ball, to me, you're giving the at bat up. Why? Even if he throws you for once for a strike, we've seen for 3 innings, he's thrown 4 curveballs for a strike. He's thrown 15 of them and he's thrown 4 for a strike. The odds are he's not, until he starts turning it around, the odds he's not going to throw it for a strike. So why are we swinging at it till we have 2 strikes? We want to hit fastballs. Fastballs are easier to hit.
Sure.
So, those are the philosophies. You can change it. Like I said, if the guy's a junk ball pitcher and he's feeding you a bunch of junk and he's throwing it for strikes, you got to change your philosophy. Maybe go up there and look change up or look breaking ball, because that's what you're getting a ton of, and be ready to hit the off speed. If he's not throwing it for a strike, you're like, or not throwing it very much for a strike, why be chasing it? Why be swinging it until you got 2 strikes? Because if he's not throwing it for a strike, you're up in the count.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I mean, there's different philosophies, but ultimately you got to hit it. So, I mean, not hitting the fastballs, it doesn't matter.
I'll say one way or another, you got to find a pitch to hit and hit it hard.
Yeah.
And as they say, hit it where they ain't.
Exactly.
No, that makes a lot of sense. But no, I appreciate your insight on that, because and I know what you mean about, aggressive teams are going to win more often. It makes me think of one of the select coaches I got to know pretty well over time, and it baffled some of the parents and even some of the players at times when they would flip for home and away, at a game. He would always pick, I want to be visitor, I want to bat first. He didn't care about having that last at bat and coming back to win the game. He's like, no, we're going to go out there and we're going to get the lead. I mean, and almost cocky in a way, but hey, if you're going to be a winner, you got to have.
And that's not a bad philosophy. I do like to have in the last inning, though.
I do too.
But I don't win many flips. It's kind of the running joke that if I have to go flip, we're going to be visitors.
Then you may as well be aggressive, right?
Exactly.
All right. Well, hopefully the offense on the team, the bats will come alive this week, and should be the chance. I think they're going to see a different style of pitching from Bowie, different, whatever you want to call it. I'll call it style, but choose a different word if you want to. And so they'll have to adjust, but hopefully the bats will come alive and maybe get out to one of those early leads.
I mean, from scouting Bowie, their pitchers, they pound the strike zone. You're going to have to hit them. They're not going to walk a lot of people. They're not overpowering. They're good at what they do. And so we're going to have to hit. They're going to play solid defense. They preach a lot of probably the things that we preach: pound the strike zone, don't walk people, play good defense. If you do that, you're going to be in ball games, and so we're going to have to go out and perform, and we're going to have to go out and play, and we're going to have to play well. And, that goes back to making sure your kids are up mentally and focused and respect the opponent they're playing, and are serious about what they're doing that day.
Sure enough. Sure enough. Well, I'm eager. I'm excited. I
Oh,
think
I'm
great
very
things are going to
excited.
happen. Yeah, I know you are. And I'm kind of with you on that. And I think great things are going to happen this week. I
Oh,
kind of
I
have
do
that
too.
feeling. Yeah. Well, you and I have a similar perspective a lot of times on stuff. And I've always enjoyed being able to
Well,
visit with you.
I talk to our kids about that and making sure we're up. But ultimately I believe in my kids.
Mhm.
And I think they're good baseball players. I think we have a really good team. I think we're a playoff team. You know, any challenge we've had, we have responded, and we've responded well, and we've been successful. And I'm hard on them, and I'm hard on them for a purpose. I'm demanding for a reason, because they have it, and they have it inside them, in my opinion, to be great. And each and every one of them do. So, I'm going to demand it from them. And they're great kids, and they're really good baseball players. And, I'm going to demand it for them. It's hard. It's a hard line to walk. You got to demand it for them, but they also got to know you love them. And, I think they know I love
Yeah.
them, and therefore I can demand it from them. And they understand that I'm not mean, that I believe in them. And that's why I'm asking more out of them, because they know, I think it's in there. And, and I have, great high expectations for them. I have, I have great admiration for them as young men, as baseball players. Um, I feel very blessed that I get to be their coach.
Mhm.
Uh, and I'm just very excited, about this week. I've been excited the whole season. I think I have a very special group, and I think it's my job to coach them hard when I need to coach them hard, demand from them when I need to demand from them, and let them know I love them, and let them know I care about them, not just as a baseball player, but as a human being.
Well, exactly. And I get, yeah. And I think some of the duties and responsibilities of a coach in any situation, you live this out, is identifying their abilities and their potentials and then demanding it out of them. And someone's got to, you know, and that's the job of the coach. So yeah,
You
that's
know,
what you really
sometimes,
need to do.
sometimes I feel bad because, coaching, a lot of times we coach the negative. And, especially like, when I was in football, I mean, you try to pat them on the butt as much as possible, or on the head as much as possible, about the good things they do. But, you're always coaching the negatives more, because the negatives is what hurts you.
Mhm.
So it seems like you're always more negative than positive. And I hate that part of coaching.
It's almost like the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not.
Yeah.
Don't make an
And
error.
you're
Clean that,
addressing more of the bad things than
but
all the good things.
that's how you get better and grow.
Exactly. But,
Yeah.
I believe in them, and I want them to be the best player they can be. I want them to be the best team that they can be, because I believe in them so much. And, you know, so I always worry a little bit that I'm too hard on them. And I talk to the players a lot of times. I'll call different ones up from time to time,
Yeah.
especially, if I've had a demanding talk with all the team, and say, hey, am I being too hard? Am I demanding too much from y'all? And 100% of the time so far this year, they said, no, coach, we need to hear that.
Well,
So
that's mature of them.
it is very mature of them.
Something else, speaking of maturity, and we'll probably wrap up pretty soon. We don't have to. We can go all night if you want to. I think we got a lot. I think we have a lot of club things left. But anyway, something else I've noticed through this season, this is a good time to bring it up, is that I see support within the team for each other. I don't think, and I can't always see into the dugout, but I don't think I've seen finger pointing. Hey,
No.
you did that wrong. You've got to, and there are teams that are doing that kind of stuff at
Well,
times. And
everybody's different, and we've had teams at Lamar that were tighter than other teams.
right.
Some can be cliquish. It's just the way it is. This team is very, very tight, and this team has supported each other a great deal. There's times that, you know kids are human beings, they're individuals, they're growing up, they're learning how to handle things. And there's times when kids are struggling, they kind of get into themselves a little bit more. It's not that they're not team orientated, it's just they're struggling. So they're looking
Yeah.
at themselves more than the whole team. And we've had
Yep.
that happen a couple times, and but they've not pointed fingers. They've No kids point fingers, no kids do anything. And even when they were into themselves, they're still team orientated. It's just, they're frustrated. When we all get frustrated, we probably look at ourselves a little bit more than everybody around us. And, it becomes a little bit more about us than everybody else,
Right.
And we have had that a little bit this year, but at the same time, they've been very, very very supportive of their teammates. And so this chemistry, this bond on this team is very, very strong. And I've enjoyed it very much.
Well,
they support each other a lot.
And I think it's helped with the whole atmosphere and everything. Speaking of atmosphere, I'll shift gears again one time real quick. I promise I'll let you go if you need to do something. But
I can talk all night, man. It don't bother me.
Well, you and I both, we're talking machines. But we talk about crowds coming out, and that is so important. But I got to mention a couple of parents of previous players came up into the broadcast booth on Friday night. Charlie Seaman had a couple
yes.
So hello from him. And it's just so cool. I've known him through church and some other stuff over the years, and just one of those people I kind of became friends with. But he came up and visited, and it's just cool. He hung out, and we talked a little bit.
That's
and
awesome.
Then Tony Powell, Wesley.
I was going to say, I saw Mr. Powell. He came up and said hi.
He every time comes up into the booth, and I love it when these guys, ladies, whoever, come up and play. Sometimes we've had former players come up, but it's really cool when they see a game going on or they plan to come to a game, and they'll come up there and talk about old times and memories of this and that and stuff. So that's just really cool. And I always want to encourage other folks to come do that too as well. So,
I mean, for me more so, I mean, I enjoy seeing the parents, but my relationship was more with the players. So
of course,
I love it when I see my former players come up and you get to give them a hug and see how they're doing and see what's going on in their lives. And I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, at the end of the day, I want to win, and I want to go to the playoffs, and I want my kids to do, I'd love to win a state championship, and I strive for it every year. But at the end of the day, it's about the moments you have with these kids, and hopefully that maybe you make a little bit of difference in their lives and lead them in the right direction and help them to make good choices, and they become successful, productive adults.
Definitely so. Well, I said it before, I'll say it one more time now. You and the coaching staff now and previous coaches have had positive influences on both of my sons and helped them and shape them into success stories they are. So thank you. You're welcome, and thank y'all. Well, Coach, anything else you want to add before we close off, other than tomorrow night is Taco Tuesday night again at the Lamar Viking Diamond. So
I do want to say, I got the best booster club in the state of Texas. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, Mr. and Mrs. Schutte are, co-presidents or whoever, however you want to put it. They are incredible. We got a great group of parents that come up with so many ideas. Great student body that's been showing up at the game and being loud for us. Lamar's a great place. I've been fortunate enough to be there 22 years and 19 as the head coach. And I mean, it's the best high school in the state of Texas. And I love it, bleed navy and gold. And I just so thankful for all the support that we have from, the amazing booster club, the amazing parents, amazing student body, amazing administration. My coaches that I get to work with every single day are incredible. So I feel very fortunate, and I shout out to all those people, because you make it fun to come to work every single day, and definitely the kids, they make it fun to come to work.
Oh, heck yeah. Well, definitely so. All right. Well, we'll be back in a week. I will be in Phoenix, but with the magic.
Oh, that's nice. On the golf course? We're going to do it from the golf course?
I wish. I've got meetings and work out there. Speaking of golf, I played one time and I shot a 92.
You shot better than I did.
I was too tired to play the back nine. But anyway, but until next time, but through the magic of Zoom, you and I will be able to connect sometime Monday night. We'll have to figure out the 2-hour time difference, but and we'll have some great stuff to talk about after this series with Bowie. But until then, I'm Bill Frawley with head Viking coach Paul Kino saying VF.
Hi, everybody.